Hello, my friends. It's Wednesday. It's hump day. And everybody's asking, where is Bitcoin going to go next? So we're going to do what we usually do and look at the data. And I've come up with 37 points to try to determine where we are going. And they'll be very interesting. And then I'll assess with a probability at the very end whether we are going higher or lower and what those levels could be. Let's get into it. Dead cat bounce. Of course, this is a technical term. We'll get into exactly what that means. This does not mean cruelty to animals. It's a finance term. I want to get that out of the way before people have a meltdown. And this is also not financial advice. It's just data. One thing we've learned this cycle is everything is different all the time. Nothing is the same as before. But we're going to look at a lot of technical indicators as well. And a big shout out to everybody on Patreon and the moderators on the channel. But this one, Scott Atkins, new Patreon member, as the content is worth every penny and then some. Awesome. Thank you, Scott. Hope you appreciate it. Let's get into it. First of all, the definition of dead cat bounce is a short-lived and often sharp rally that occurs after a big secular downtrend. Some other details you got to look for more on the technical side of what a dead cat bounce is. Basically, you have a small, weak jump in price after a big crash, but the volume is very low and doesn't last. So watch that very carefully. Also, a real reversal is when the price genuinely turns upward after being heavily oversold. We're going to look at a ton of oversold indicators today as well. Also look at the price action. Right now, we're just 90K, just under 90K. No, 90,200. We've gone up $400. Wow. We plunged from 125K down to 80K. So we're up 10,200 from the bottom. And everybody's talking, all the gurus out there is like, oh, it's just a dead cat bounce. Don't get faked. We'll see. We've got to be cautious. You got to wait for confirmation before you jump in. I guess we jumped in today. Anyway, context as well. We'll look at all the different technical indicators, look at money flows, sentiment, and try to figure out what's up. There is no other Bitcoin channel where you'll see 37 indicators in 15 minutes. Let's do it fast. First of all, I want to look at the macro chart and compare April. That was the tariff tantrum. This is the V-shaped recovery from April, pretty close to a perfect V. And the sell-off, however, this time around was far steeper. If you look at the slope of the line of the sell-off, far steeper, far deeper. But we have a higher low. That's a good sign. We'll talk more about that in a minute too. And a dead cat bounce sometimes could result in a 20% pop, but then a reversion to the downside. Dead cat rallies are weak, low volume, but we watch the volume very carefully too, and the volume's there. And this was a violent dip, a very violent dip. But remember, after the last V-shaped recovery, back in April, Bitcoin shot up 52% in 45 days. If we did the same thing, and I'll get to a key point towards the end of this video, there is a price prediction from somebody we all know very well at this stage. And what that could mean, 52% from where we are today or from the bottom would get us to a new all-time high. Historically, Bitcoin does move fast, does happen fast. We're going to look at some combination technical indicators as well and summarize them up. This is the ATR model, the trend model, mean reversion, everything in one fell swoop. And you can see here, we are deeply, deeply oversold. The trend has turned up, which is nice to see. And we are between level 4 and level 5 on the ATR model. So we're right in the no man's land. Going back to level 4 would take us back to the 80K. Going up to level 5 would take us to that key level of around 92, 93K, which we have to get above as we go forward. Also, a quick look at some of the indicators. Now, we can look at these indicators on a 4-hour period for the swing traders over 6 weeks. 12-hour period is half of a day. A daily period gives you the big macro view of the analysis. But sometimes for these types of bottoms to confirm we are going back up. And it's not a dead cat bounce. I like to look at the 12-hour, not the 4-hour. Because after getting kicked in the teeth so hard and shafted by all the 10-10 events and everything else, you become a little more gun shy. So you wait a little bit more for confirmation, hence the 12-hour chart. But looking at the 12-hour chart and the IA indicators, the 12-hour trend, optimized trend, flip positive. This is correct 98.49% of the time. The Confluence model buy signal on the 12-hour and the 4-hour. It's correct 92% of the time. ATR between level 4 and level 5. That means we're kind of in a no man's land there. And mean reversion is 1.6 standard deviations oversold on the 12-hour. And that's correct 93.81% of the time when you get a buy signal. All of these things, these back-tested technical analysis data models all say good, 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 good. But let's go a little bit deeper. This one are the spot order books and depth ratio as well on Coinbase. And Bitcoin is back at in the huge passive demand zone. And spot order book depth ratio is positive. And Coinbase as well apparently stopped chasing price with asks. It looks a little bit better for the bulls from this perspective. Again, there's been a turnaround here. Also, on-chain analysis from Axel, from Crypto Quant, we are deeply, deeply oversold. The 90-day price gradient oscillator is now at 1.27 standard deviations down. That means Bitcoin has moved well below its short-term cost basis historically. And when this metric drops below -1, it has marked the late stage of a correction and the start of a local bottom. Very important. Again, I might say the word bottom a lot in this video today. Bottom formations. They're very, very good to see. Next, let's check this out. The RSI. Those that like it, it is deeply oversold. It bottomed at 10 and rising now. Oh, that's not, sorry. But it bottomed for the first time at this level since middle of 2025. Sorry, get out of there. Sorry, the dog is tearing crap up as usual. So getting up from here seems like a good place to go. Next, we have potentially, shout out to Spikezor. This is a weekly chart for Bitcoin with the support layers, and this could be a higher low on the weekly. And we've also had higher highs. You think of this as a stairway, steps up in the future. And again, no market goes straight up. You can always see the drawdowns that happen. And this would be very, very close to previous connections this cycle, but it happened a lot faster. Remember the V chart here? The slope of the line is a lot deeper than the previous one. And that is concerning. Risk is happening faster. But even with that, in April, we fell to 75K. This one, we only fell to about 80K. So this could be a positive sign if we can stay above here and reverse and get that V in pretty quickly. Again, another positive sign. Let's look at a little bit of history. This is RSI as well from Crypto Rover. Bitcoin has only ever been this low on RSI 6 times in history. And historically, every single time we got this low, Bitcoin went up afterwards. Bitcoin usually pumps when this happens. Is this the Bitcoin bottom? Or if all the Bitcoin haters are coming out with their papers saying, that's it. We told you it was a scam. We told you. We told you for 10 years it was a scam. Since it was $10, it was a scam. And they love this. The grave dancers are out in force. It's fun to watch. But again, when I see them all coming out, that actually for me is another bullish indicator. So we'll see. And again, all we do is look at data here. I share it all, do all the research so you can make your own decisions. Let's check out another thing too. The whale bulls are going aggressively long on Bitcoin like they haven't done in years. Retail traders are throwing in the towel. But the whales are buying like crazy and stacking like mad over the last 10 days, 14 days or so. What do they know? I don't know. There's also some crazy rumors of big players buying. Maybe these whales are buying on behalf of a sovereign or multiple sovereigns. We're not sure. There's also other rumors about SBR coming back to life and such, but I can't verify that, so I'm leaving that for now. Also, Bitcoin options action. Where are the big options traders like myself? Where are we placing our bets? So this is a chart here that is skewing heavily bullish for 26th of December 2025. That is the day after Christmas Day, 25th of December. And you can see here a couple of things to point out. One, max pain is at $100,000. And typically the price gravitates towards where max pain is to help the market makers, etc. The put call ratio is incredibly low. I covered a lot of that in Okta yesterday too. We also see the largest put position, the largest bearish position is only at 85K, which is very close to where we are now. So that's no biggie. If there was somebody with a huge put position down at $40,000, I'd be worried. But the only courageous one is just a few dollars from where we are today. And there is tons of call action north of 100K for December 2026, for December 26th, 2025. That is exactly 30 days from now. Okay, so all the big money is making bullish bets, as well as the data I shared yesterday, which I will not repeat again. I never repeat myself. Next, fear and greed is recovering. It's still in a world of hurt. It's still extreme fear, but you can see we were bottoming around 10 for quite a while, and it bounced up to 15. It's making a slow recovery, and historically, 80% of the time, when we have extreme fear, it's a perfect buy signal. When everybody's throwing in the towel, everybody's throwing poop at each other, everybody's freaking out. Again, fear. Now, money. Follow the money. ETF flows. 3 of the last 5 days were positive. Not hugely positive, but a reversal nonetheless. TradFi is coming back. Now, if you analyze, like I have, the ETF outflows in history, we've had the worst series of negative outflows in the history of the Bitcoin ETF. But normally in history, it would be negative for 3 or 4 days, maybe maximum 5 days, then it would rebound. But if you look at where we are here, we had a truckload of negative red days, big ones too, especially out of IBIT. So what happens next? Normally a recovery, and especially what happens is TradFi are late to sell, and then they're late to buy the dip. So they'll see the Bitcoin price fall from 126 down to 90, and then they'll start selling, and they'll drive the price to 80K. And then they wait for it to be back above 90 and say, oh, I sold at 90. I think I'm going to get back in again at 92, 93. And that's their buy signal. So we'll see the action today at the close of business to find out exactly where we went. But this is an interesting one to watch too. Next, bullish views. I'm going to try summarize some of the sentiment views out there in the interwebs. Huge whale buying, increased spot demand, ETFs coming back. Q4 is seasonally the strongest time ever. If there's ever a time for Bitcoin to pump, this is the time to do it. November has been a wash so far, worse since 2018. But there's still a few days left. We'll see. Everything is oversold like hell, and the FUD is dying down. The FUD storm was like nothing I've ever seen lately. It was kind of weird. Now let's talk about the bearish side, and then we'll quant this all up and try to come to a conclusion, which is based in data. Peter Brandt warns of a dead cat bounce with a potential retest of 80 to 85K. No biggie if that happens. We were just there a few days ago. The recent bounce may be a bear trap designed to liquidate shorts, not a sustainable recovery. Yep, that's a dead cat bounce. Is it a dead cat bounce? We have to see. And liquidity issues still persist. There's still very little liquidity in the market. And this suggests that a bear market is not over despite the short-term rally. And we have the technical indicator like the death cross that I proved. 55% of the time after we get a death cross for Bitcoin, within 90 days, Bitcoin price goes up. Okay? So when people hear death cross and dead cat bounce and death this and dead that, people get scared. And when people get scared, they run. And that is the time where you do not run. I always say run into the burning building. It's where you make the money. Anyway, that's just me. That's my thing. Let's analyze all of this data. And before I do, I just want to say a huge thank you to Shawnee, TND Tesla, everybody in the US who's going to be celebrating Thanksgiving, K8 and everybody else, and our friends all over the world. We've got Buckhorn, B-Man, DBF 430 in Australia. We got Swiss guy, Richie in Switzerland, and people from all over the world. It makes me so happy to see that. Let's analyze the actual data of all the stuff I just walked through. First of all, the scorecard, the IA scorecard. I covered 37 points in, 10, 15 minutes. Bullish, 19 were bullish. 8, we're bearish. 10, we're neutral. Net score is plus 11. Therefore, I'm leaning bullish, driven by technical, on-chain, money, seasonality, despite all the bearish warnings. And therefore, I believe, based on this, the probability that this is not a dead cat bounce is now 60%. The probability it is 40%. We still need money to come in. Without money, there's nothing, everybody. But the FUD is dying down and all the technical indicators are good. And I tried to find the bad ones too. Okay, I always like to have everything fair and balanced. So the question is, what do people do? Well, I believe it's worth a nibble under 90K. Monitor the volume. Watch this very carefully. Low volume shows it's a trap. Watch for conviction. Watch the different exchanges as well, what's happening there. Watch the premiums. Watch that key level, 92K. If we can get above 92, 93K, we're off to the races. If we struggle around 90 for a long time, there's a high chance we go back to 85 or even lower. And that's just the reality. And watch the money flow. If the ETFs are not buying, the DATs are toast, we're toast. We need TradFi to come in. The asset is too big for retail. You know, if a couple of retail investors throw $100, $200 in the kitty, it doesn't matter. It needs billions to come in to move the needle. Billions. Now, back to what I hinted at the very beginning. Guess who's back? Tom Lee. Tom Lee is pumping ETH and Bitcoin like there's no tomorrow. He says Bitcoin could hit new highs by year end. So there it is. Tom Lee Daily on CNBS. New all-time high. That means the price above 126K in literally 30 days by Christmas. I hope he's right. He did say 200K by the end of January, and I promised to move my eat my shoe date out to the end of the month, and I'll do that. And a shout out as well to Ocean JJ. This is why we Bitcoin. Long-term investors ignore the FUD. They know there will only ever be 21 million Bitcoin. In fact, there'll never be more than 15 million Bitcoin. And a lot of it is sucked into holes, so it'll never reappear again. And that's why we do this. There's 63 million millionaires on the planet. And the majority of them, 80% of them, will never have a chance of having a whole coin. Unless they drive the price to $1.3 million. And that's just the numbers. So I hope you learned something today. Let me know. I don't want to sound overly bullish. 60% chance this is not a dead cat bounce. We got to watch what happens with the money. Watch what happens with the sovereigns. Watch what the whales do. Or the big OG whales, the 3 to 5 year whales, have they stopped selling? Or the new whales are definitely buying. And a lot of Bitcoin has left the exchanges over the past week. Something funky is happening behind the scenes. And we're going to be here for it. So a big thank you once again to all the mods in the chat. And the whole team that's here, and Bitcoin Broccoli as well, and Swiping No Swiping. Love you guys. See you tomorrow. By the way, it's Thanksgiving tomorrow, but I'll be here every day, as you know. Thank you. Good night.